This video is on how to become an estimator. So I was an estimator. I have been an estimator for 5 years. Currently still work as one. I have a background in the Air Force. I was in for 4 years and did somewhat of a similar background in construction. I have worked from larger companies kind of down into smaller size companies. And I guess generally these are the steps that I took to become an estimator. First thing, just applying to a lower tier estimating job, where you'll start to begin to learn the basics. My first company that I applied to right out of the military would have been a restoration company, taking houses off the market and remodeling them, and putting them back onto the market and reselling them. And I didn't have, a bachelor's at the time. I had an associate's background in construction, but I worked with other people whose backgrounds were very random. Maybe a bachelor's in, I don't know, sociology or something like that, that were kind of smart enough, I guess, to make the cut. But I've met people who basically just had the credentials of high school. I worked with a guy kind of later on that had came out of the filming industry and dealing with cameras. But generally, you'll be shown blueprints or pictures of construction of any sort, from residential to commercial. You'll take those blueprints, get quantities off of them using different software. A big one is called PlanSwift. Another one is called Bluebeam. I used a lot of Bluebeam. And it's just a computer-aided guide to take off the plans themselves, kind of quantize that. You would take those material amounts. Normally in estimating, you're going to throw those into an Excel. If you've used Excel in the past, it's not going to be too complicated, at least most places. And put pricing to that. Some of the bigger software is Xactimate, that I've used in the past. Another one is RS Means. There are a few different cost softwares. Your own company may even have a pricing book that they'll actually give to you whenever you get there. And then you'll throw those into the slots next to the amounts of material. The amount will, you can run a formula to basically have it multiplied by the amount that you get from the Bluebeam or the PlanSwift. And it'll be a final total. You total all of that stuff up, you put it on a proposal. You'll probably use Word. Maybe they have a different document set up. Maybe they use a different system for the document. I did a lot in Adobe in the past. And from that point, normally, because you're starting off and you're trying to get into estimating, you'll have that reviewed by a senior estimator. Because you may start even as, or maybe just a main estimator, because you may start as an estimating assistant, according to what you can find to begin with. And over time, you'll get better at understanding blueprints. You'll get better at understanding how long things take for labor, for instance. You'll get an understanding of margins and how much you make for a certain project. You'll have a lot of conversation back and forth with project managers, as you'll probably see them out in the field if you have to do site walks. Project managers manage the project that you estimate after your estimate goes through and you win. Another thing to take into account is hard bidding versus like a budget, for instance. So hard bidding is trying to basically beat out the pricing from another estimator, from any number of different companies. It may be a dozen on a single project that's trying to estimate it. And budget is more whenever there's maybe a relationship between your company and the client who is asking for work, and they just say, per square footage, or just a general price or something like that, and you can get it close, but generally they'll go ahead and accept the pricing since there's already a relationship there. At least here in Arizona, the market is white hot for estimators. Turnover seems to be somewhat high for whatever reason, in between company to company, regardless of how large or small. Normally, though, the larger companies will have less turnover than the smaller ones. That's probably just generally throughout all other jobs too. Salary. Now that's an upside. I am currently at 114. You can go as high as maybe 120 or 130 as a senior estimator. I currently don't hold the position of a senior estimator, and I'm still up there. And I've only been out of the Air Force for 5 years. I got out in 2019. It's 2024 now. So, by the way, most places are salary for estimators. The lower echelon of the list, like the lower end jobs, and I mean, some of the higher end jobs too, are going to be per hour. But normally you're going to work a 40-hour week, basically. I don't have to necessarily stay late. I don't have to do, honestly, it's an office job. So it can be a little stressful, getting projects turned in whenever they need to be, communicating effectively with clients, and that can be wild because clients can say whatever the hell they want to say, honestly. But not bad at all. Decent benefits, according to the company, and all of that all comes down, of course, to negotiating your salary, negotiating your benefits, and all that stuff too. But yeah, I've tried project management, but out here in Arizona, as you can see, very hot. And if you're in an area where it's more reasonable, or you're just more akin to being outside, you'd probably rather have a project management job. Estimating is inside. If you want an office job, or even remote work from home, which there are plenty of remote and work from home positions as an estimator, definitely not a bad gig. Yep. All right.